All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to first thank you guys all for coming out to our webinar. My name is Tara Moyers. I'm our Business Development Manager. Today we are going to have George Preen speaking, who is our Director of Asset and Data Management. A little bit about George. Has developed a successful career in the energy sector, servicing the oil and gas industry for over 13 years. His experience in various roles has given him experience in survey project management, multi-team management, GIS data management, and database administration. George has managed large multidiscipline teams with a high contribution to net revenue for multi-million-dollar consulting companies. And now I'm going to turn the time over to George. So welcome, George.
Thanks, Sarah. And again, thanks for everybody coming out today to listen to what we've got to say. First of all, I just want to start out by saying and showing what the services are that Integrity EPC is offering. At the moment, we are doing obviously pipeline facilities, data, and asset management. That includes Blue Sky, Orbital web portal, implementation and design, some other Blue Sky products as well. Database administration, FME tools and implementation, GIS and mapping solutions as well, web mapping services, mapping exhibits, image generation, et cetera. And so I like data analysis too to go with our Integrity portfolio. And what we're going to be talking about today is really navigating your data and your asset management systems in a complex work environment. And what does that really mean? So what I like to do today is just kind of show you the overall processes and workflows that we encounter every day in our pipeline and facility assets when working in those departments and those assets. So today we're going to go over the tools, what exists out there right now, existing softwares, web platforms, how do we navigate through all of that, the challenges that we face, whether it be budget, software constraints, manual entry or record entries, and then the QA/QC validation part. And then talk about processes, streamlined versus manual, existing versus proposed, and then we'll show you the business outcomes from all of these things, the potential negative outcomes that could result out of our challenges, and then the positive outcomes as well as a result of our proposed and streamlined processes. So here we go. Here are kind of some of the tools and softwares out there. And as you can see from the picture here, there's a lot to choose from. There's a lot of great software out there. So what's the right choice? What's your plan? How does it fit into your business structure and your model? Do you have the budget constraints? Do you have the timeline? What's the return on investment? And then putting that all together, what's my QA/QC going to look like? The challenges: too expensive, not in our budget for these types of softwares, don't have the time to implement. We don't have the expertise. We may have expanded scopes and timelines, expanded processes and workflows, and then also more costs to complete. I'm throwing just a little bit of Winston Churchill here to remind us, like, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. And it's true, we all want to be better. We all want to expand our horizons and use technology and innovation, but do we always have the time? Do we always have the budget to put that into place? And usually that answer is no. So what we're going to do today is just basically review a case study that we've recently done, and hopefully that will help you navigate around some of these softwares and help you make some really good decisions moving into the future. And this case study is a case study that we're currently working on right now. It's for Xcel Energy, and what we're using is a Blue Sky product called Orbital, and it's a web platform. And we're using it not only to implement, one central database location for all their as-built pipeline data, but all their facility data, and then what goes beyond that. Just rolling out a web product in a portal like Orbital is fairly easy to implement. It's behind the scenes is what's the challenge. It's How do we get it into our asset management systems? How do we get it to our end users, our management, the people that actually need the information? So that's what we're going to go through today and talk about in this case study. How we actually designed it, how we implemented it, how it saved times, what were the potential and proposed business outcomes from all of that. So here's the problem. We want to have the ability to have our pipeline data streamlined and automated into an asset management system. We also want to make sure that we have traceable, verifiable, and complete records, TVC, without having to purchase additional software or use additional software to do that or to create that. So what's our solution? We're using a Blue Sky product called Orbital. It's a web platform. It has a lot of different modules today. We're talking about the survey module. You have the project side and you have the system side. The system side also includes asset management. But today we're going to just talk about the survey module and what its main objective here is basically being able to load data directly into the web platform. And you can do that in various ways: CSV, survey job files, GeoSOM files, shape files. So it's very flexible. And so we decided that we were going to implement this so that everybody was on the same page from field to office, survey crews, data, all on a baseline. And then our execution, we had to basically modify our database, which is a C file, to match the Orbital schema, revise or modify their data dictionary. So survey crews, survey consulting firms were all on the same page. We had a baseline, and then creating data, loading tools, and reporting tools so that the end users can do what they need to do. The problem with that is we also needed something to QA and QC and validate all this data. And one of the most powerful tools that's inside the Orbital platform is the data analytics. And you can see right here in the upper right-hand corner, this little preview or little picture. This is kind of some of the reporting that you're going to get, the analytics behind the actual data. What I like about this is you can, from the field or from the office, upload your file as long as you have internet access, and you can see right away within minutes, is my data, is the integrity of my data valid? Does it pass my thresholds and my tolerances that I've given it? Does it meet the data dictionary? So right away, without having to have another data tech or another person in the office touch this data, I automatically get data analytics behind what I'm importing into the tool. So this is a very important step for not only survey crews who are going very fast, but also for our office personnel who's using this information to create reports for end users. And then the last part of that is, using some FME tools to map data into Excel's asset manager, which is called Small World. That is also another trick part. Go back to that slide. FME is such a powerful tool, and I'm a huge advocate for it. We're also now to create other tools, streamline other methods, and doing things in GIS as well. What we did with the FME tool here for Excel Energy was we took the information that we uploaded, the survey data that we uploaded into the web portal, and we created some data tables inside a C file, which we were then able to download and export that information, those data tables, into the C file, into some CSV working files that we could import into their asset manager called Small World. But the only way we could do that correctly and to populate all the fields that were required for the asset manager was to actually map it. So take, for instance, if you had 1,000 wells or 2,000 wells, very large pipeline projects where you had all these records and you had to manually populate all the information, it would take a very long time. And this is what was happening. So we needed to create that automated piece, and we worked with their GIS department, and we were able to use FME to map this data into their data asset manager. So we're going now back to kind of an existing workflow and a process. And this is very kind of standard, if you will. Some of this varies, but kind of an existing workflow that was in place is that we did some surveying here in front end, took that survey data, sent it into the office where we did some processing. We did some QA/QC, whether that was in the field or in the office. We imported that into our data staging tools or a database using, Dash or Skyline Lightning, manual entries, however you could get that data into a data staging database. And then we used some reporting. The reporting was basically an export of the CSV files. And then obviously that goes into another QA/QC office type personnel departments, and then off to the client or the end user. So what are the potential negative business outcomes to this? Is like, obviously there's too many steps. There could be software constraints. A lot of the consultants or engineering firms that were involved in these projects didn't have the software, they didn't have the personnel, and so they were butting heads on how do we get data into a database that's usable. So they were doing it manually, and then manual record entries as well. So obviously that would create very long time to complete. Manual entries is also prone to errors. We came up with the proposed orbital workflow, and I've got my magic wand up here just to remind me. I had a magic wand, or you had a magic wand, what would you do? How would you do it? And this is what we came up with, and I think it's a great workflow. Obviously, it began from survey, and you could see here we have that standard data dictionary that we uploaded into the Orbital platform. That's our baseline. All the surveyors are using it. The surveyors, and I have this Dash online, little icon here is because we're using that QA/QC. It's another online tool where the field guys can upload their CSV data and within minutes validate the data dictionary or the data versus the data dictionary, and they can automatically get their analytics right there. And if there is an issue, they can fix it right away, redo it, and if it's good, they can send it on to the office crew where they can upload into Orbital, or survey can automatically from the field obviously upload that information into Orbital's platform as well. There's a couple of things that you can also do in here from Orbital. Is when you do get your analytics, if you're uploading directly into Orbital, you can open up Dash Online and pull your Orbital database over, and the survey files are uploaded into it, and also do your validation there. So there's a two-way prong and approach to our QA/QC validation. So one is up front with the surveyors, and who is either by survey or office personnel. We can get data analytics and then do our QA/QC validation from that. I have this GIS data in here, and like AGOL little icon here is because the great thing about Orbital is that you can also export geodatabase. So if you're using web mapping services or AGOL online, you can export a GDB and then import that data into your web map. So a couple of options, a little bit more flexibility that's coming out of the module, and that all happens very quickly. Once we've got that data uploaded and it's the correct format, we can download our LineFM seed file, or legacy seed file, and then from there we can export the CSV files that we need to import into GE Small World platform. And again, I've got the FME icon there too, so that you can see that here is the transaction. This is where we're moving that data from the CSV or the data tables that's inside the seed file over to their asset manager. And that's kind of the power behind this whole thing. We created all this way and proposed workflow. Without the automation piece, we would still go back to a manual entry. So what were the positive business outcomes achieved here? we're able to streamline and automate the process from field to office. Flexibility to many platforms. What does that mean? The Orbital platform has a customizable API function where you can talk to other platforms. We're going to be able to, in the future, be able to create customized tools that allow us to do even more things like streamline importing data into data tables. So that information is already in our data tables when we download the database. So it expands our horizons into what we can do in the future. There are no software constraints. I didn't have to use additional software to upload a CSV file from the field into our web platform. It was already processed. The data was there. I was able to get data analytics and download a database with populated data within minutes. QA/QC, again, once I've loaded my data into the web platform, I can look at my data analytics and receive real-time notification there. And if I need to, if I get a fail on my file, I can go ahead and do my QA/QC with Dash Online, and then automated record entry. So we took all this information, put it into a web platform, spit it out, use FME, put it into an asset manager within minutes. So that time, or the outcome, is the time savings from basically hours and sometimes weeks will go to minutes. And it's a very powerful workflow. Some noteworthy projects. Just a couple projects that we're currently working on. Obviously for Xcel Energy, we're working on an orbital implementation project. That is implementation and design on the web platform. The FTO, or the field the office process, updating data dictionary and survey processes, updating the database seed file to an orbital schema, and then FME to small world data movement, the QA/QC validation. Same with Tallgrass. We're doing an orbital pilot project for them right now. We're basically doing somewhat of the same things. There's a little bit different on the back end where they are using FME, but it's also going to an SE database and then obviously onto pods. And so that's where the data movement is and the power beyond the orbital platform. And then again, QA/QC validation. And that's it today, guys. Just want to quickly get that webinar out to you guys and show you guys what we're doing in the data management world and how we're using some Blue Sky products and a web platform technology to move data along in a more streamlined and automated process.
I'll open up to questions. I will unmute you. So we have about 8 to 10 minutes for questions. Just one second. Just one second. We're having a little technical difficulty muting you guys. All right.
There we go, guys.
Feel free if someone has a question.
Well, thank a lot, guys. We appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or you want to check us out, look at the website, give me an email. Here's our information. Here's my information, except for the 303. It's just 303-549-5903. Shoot me an email at george.preen@epc.com, or check us out on the web at www.integrityepc.com. And I look forward to talking to you guys. And if you want to just talk about process or workflow, just give me a shout. Appreciate it.